Hello, everybody, and welcome to the MidKnight Review. I'm Revenale.
I'm Endavarius, and this time we are talking about Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm is a new MOBA from Blizzard, and they've tried really hard to go in and fix things and improve things that I think a lot of people didn't even realize were broken, actually. Which, I mean, MOBAs in general are all about teamwork and strategy. I mean, that is the core of their gameplay. And Blizzard has found a way to make a MOBA that is more team friendly and team based and more strategic than any other MOBA I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, and I think anybody who's familiar with the MOBA genre is familiar with kind of this attitude that players have, kind of this environment where, like, if you make a mistake, you're gonna get nailed for it, just ruthlessly by the rest of your team, or at least that one
guy. There's always that one guy.
Oh my gosh. But also just kind of the way they've built a few mechanics that have really changed like the way teams work together. One of which being the fact that Blizzard has decided to pool the experience, so it's all team based. So your team all levels up together, and so you don't have to worry about like one player getting fed or one player being underfed.
I really like that aspect. I think it's really done a lot of good things for the game. It's made all of the roles incredibly viable. So your support is now just as viable to play and just as fun to play as any other role, whereas I know a lot of people didn't like support because they were always underfed, they're always under level, and they're always under gold and everything else. And right along with the team-based experience change, they've gotten rid of gold completely. They've gotten rid of gold, they've gotten rid of the item system, all gone, replaced instead with a talent system that allows for much more customization, much more in-depth strategic decision-making, because it actually, rather than just, increasing attack or giving you lifesteal or, shield when you take this much magic damage, or increasing your attack speed, or whatever the random little effects that the items would do, this will actually fundamentally change the way your talents work, sometimes the way your hero plays, your drastically reduce cooldowns on certain talents so you can focus on certain abilities to really pump a lot into. So it's like your star ability. And then right along with, kind of included in their talent system, because your level 10 talent is actually you get to choose your heroic ability. And unlike all of the other MOBAs that I've played where every hero has a set specific heroic ability, the heroes, every champion I've seen in Heroes of the Storm has two that they can choose from, that are usually vastly different. Like Nova is a good example. She's a ghost from StarCraft, for anybody who's not familiar. She has, her basic weapon is the sniper rifle. So one of her ults is a triple tap, which once she's locked on to a hero, she can shoot them like forever away as long as they don't break cover or run behind a building or whatever. And then her other one is a unlimited range nuke that she can drop anywhere on the map. So two vastly different abilities. One is an assassin, eliminate a specific hero skill. One is more like a team support. Oh look, they're gathering for a team fight, I'm going to drop a nuke on them. So very different options.
And that's why I've really enjoyed the talent system, is just because even in the middle of a match, you can change kind of the way you're going to play your character, and you really can match it to fit your play style, or you can adapt to different play styles to fit the need that your team has. And so I think it'll bring out a really interesting element when we see a lot of the competitive tournaments happening.
I think so because depending on what talents, not just what talents you choose, But what talents your enemy chooses, you're going to have to change the way you fight against that person dynamically throughout the match, because you might pick up a talent at level 12 that now the way you were fighting against them before is no longer going to work. You have to change the whole way you're going about things. So I really like that. The one thing I don't like is I did get disconnected from a match and the computer automatically picked a bunch of talents for me, and I couldn't go back and change them once I reconnected, and that made me really mad because the computer picked really, really crappy talents. And so that I didn't like. That I do hope they fix somehow. If you get disconnected and when you reconnect, you can go back and repick any of the talents the computer picked for you, or something to fix that. But other than that, I've really been impressed with the changes they made. They've done a really good job. They've really done a good job with the talent system and with the heroes, creating a very good balance. All of their heroes are really, really balanced.
Yeah, even though Heroes of the Storm is still in beta, it is very well balanced. All of the heroes are very unique, but at first, like I was picking a few different champions, and everyone I played, I was like, wow, this guy's like super overpowered, because just because of how exciting and engaging some of their abilities were. But when you actually see the whole thing play out, they're all very well balanced. They're all very well at dealing in different situations and with different builds. So
yeah, it's really interesting. The other thing I think they've done a really, really good job on is they've made the whole thing more strategic, which is impressive considering that it's the MOBA genre. That they've made the whole thing more strategic is incredibly impressive. And this is from a few really significant changes. Jungling is no longer really a thing. You can't just have somebody who's a dedicated jungler that spends the whole game running around between the lanes fighting packs of monsters. You can't do it. Because now rather than having like 7 different monster camps on one side of the jungle, you might only have 2 or 3, and these work totally different. They're stronger, so when you go to fight them, usually you have to take a couple people with you. You go kill them, then you capture their camp, and then those monsters will actually respawn immediately and pick a lane, whatever lane they're closest to, and they will go down that lane and help you fight down that lane. So they'll push towers, they'll push minion waves, whatever, but they'll help you fight those lanes. Then they have like the boss monster, same basic concept, but it's a more powerful monster that spawns and picks one of the lanes to go down.
Another thing that Blizzard's done that's really enhanced the strategic element of the game is their maps, their map system. Every map has a very unique mechanic that can dramatically alter gameplay, and it gives players another strategy, whether to focus on this objective or to continue focusing, pushing the base.
Yeah, it creates some interesting dynamics. I think it makes it. One of the things that's impressive about it is that it's not, even though they've added this vastly different and powerful objectives. I mean, these objectives are meaningful. When you capture the sun temples in the desert map, I don't remember what the name of the map is, those temples will actually fire lasers as long as you hold that temple at enemy towers, enemy forts, enemy bases, enemy gates. All of your building objectives for the lane, they'll sit there and pound on those things and do major damage. But even with all that, it's not unbalanced. It's not so strong that it unbalances the whole thing. If you focus on pushing those lanes, I think you have just as good a chance as a team that's focusing only on the objectives. Obviously, your best bet's to balance your efforts to get both, but it still brings in this additional layer of strategy. And just because you capture the camp, one time, it's not going to vastly swing things in your favor, but it might give you that edge that you need to regain control. So they've done a really good job just balancing all these different aspects. And for all those players who are upset about the jungle change, one of the changes that I like is the new mount system. So, most heroes can mount up. All of them have some kind of movement speed boost or something that's available. But the thing I really love about the mounts is it makes traveling across the map a lot faster. Whether you're traveling from base, whether you're traveling from lane to lane. So it makes ganking a lot more interesting because it's a lot harder to know exactly where your enemies are going to be and when they're going to be there, because they have such a wide range in options for movement speed. If they might have just popped down to go capture a monster camp, and instead all of a sudden they're behind you because while they were there they mounted up and then rode through that jungle area to show up somewhere you didn't expect. Mm-hmm. And so I think that will add an interesting layer, like you said, as we really see strategies develop and the pros kind of get really involved. I think we'll see some really interesting strategies and interesting things evolve in Heroes of the Storm as it progresses.
Mm-hmm. It'll be really interesting to see just how the esports scene reacts to this game and how big of a place it will take. I feel like it will be a very major player.
I do too.
Blizzard's done a lot of things to really really push that very early on. They already have team leagues.
They already have 2 ranked leagues. They have just a regular ranked league, and then they have a team ranked league. So you're not going to go up if you go into the regular ranked league. You're not going to go up against a pre-made team because there's actually a specific league for that. Right. So that's interesting.
And then they've already put out some different tournaments and stuff. They announced a tournament they'll be doing in the near future for college students. The winning team, the entire team, will get their entire college career paid for. Which is
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, really awesome. But really just trying to get people engaged, competitive. Which I think is a great move on their part.
And I think it will easily stand on par with games like League of Legends or Dota 2 as far as where it stands in the esports scene. I think it will easily obtain that kind of a level. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, other than that, to kind of wrap up with all these changes, I think it's the funnest MOBA I've ever played. Mm-hmm. As far as just pure, straight up fun. This game was a blast. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bottom line, very well developed, even though it's still in the beta. I have really high hopes for the game and what Blizzard decides to do with it in the future.
Yeah. It's pretty. It's smooth. I haven't seen any major flaws. My one gripe about the computer picking my talents yet, but aside from that, I haven't found any major complaints. So I'm impressed. I'm really excited to see where it goes. The one thing they haven't done yet, and obviously it's still in the beta, so they haven't had as much time. They've got about 40 heroes, I think. 40. They just released Sylvanas, but I don't know where that puts them. I think it's 40 something. Compared to last time I counted, League had over 100. I don't even know on Dota 2 how many they have. So, champion-wise, a little skimpy still, but they've got lots of time and they have plenty of material to go from.
Releasing them pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But, I do appreciate that they're making sure they're all balanced.
And I would rather have fewer heroes that are really, really well balanced and really, really unique than stories of heroes that just do all kinds of stupid things to the game.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review.
Hopefully you did. If you didn't, I guess that's shame on you. I don't know.
Click here to subscribe for more.
You gotta click here. See, click his head, right? Talking head.
Feel free to leave your comments. Any questions that you have about the game, leave them in the comments below.
Down there, way down there.
And definitely look for us online on Battle.net. We'd love to play with you guys.
And Avarius.
Revenue.
So, we'll see you online.